This video will show you how to automatically import data from a text file. After this, I'm going to show you a few options to make it more flexible. So this time we're going to set up the macro in an existing workbook. Let's record our macro. And this time, instead of saving it in the personal workbook, we're going to save it in this new workbook that I have open. Go through the normal steps that you would to import your data. Because I need to show my text files, I need to make sure that the file type is set to all files. Go through the text import wizard. We have a comma delimited file, so we're going to select delimited, click next. It's a comma delimited file, and as you can see, Excel shows us how it's going to break up the columns. This first column is a supplier number. It's not numbers that I want to do any math with, so let's set it to a text type. The others are currency, so we will leave them as general. Now we're finished. Excel has imported data. We're done recording. Let's stop the recorder. Let's take a look at our code. Because I set it to save it in the current workbook, let's go up to here and double click on Module 1. This is the macro that we just recorded. As you can see, it opens up a text file. Here is the path to the text file. It includes the full path and the full file name, including the extension. It also records all the other settings that I had made for the import. So next time I open and run this macro, it will import this exact file with the same settings as last time. To save our macro, return to the original blank workbook and do a File, Save As, making sure to save it as a macro-enabled workbook. So let's test our macro. And there's our data. Now, what if the file name changes month to month, day to day? Well, you can always go into the code and change this line right here, making sure not to remove the double quotes on either end. Make sure that you have a full path, full file name, and the extension. But it can be a little bit of a pain to have to go into your code to make a change. Wouldn't it be easier to just have the file name in a cell or the full path and file name in the cell? That's what I'm going to show you how to do here. So first, let's go ahead and give the cell a label. Try that again. So let's go and give the cell a label. In this first scenario, we're only going to change the file name, not the path. Our current file name is supplier revenue text. Let's go ahead and copy that entire title and place it in this cell. We have placed the name of the file in cell B1. Let's return to our code, and now let's modify the code to read B1. What we need to do is remove the file name from the quotes, but notice I've left this last slash here. I'm going to go just to the right of the double quotes, space, ampersand, and then the name of the sheet. Notice the name of the sheet goes in quotation marks, followed by the cell address, also in quotation marks, value. What I've done here is you've got the full path in quotation marks, and then we're telling Excel to join with that the cell containing the name of the file. Worksheets sheet 1, because the name of the sheet was sheet 1, and then the cell address b1.value. So next time this macro is run, it will build the name of the file from this information right here. Let's go ahead and give it a run. And there you go. It works. You can now go and change the name of your file name simply by changing the cell value right here. For example, if your file name is Supply Revenue May Update, again, make sure you have the proper extension. You can put that in B1 and run your code. And now your supply revenue from May is also imported. If you need even more flexibility because the file might move around, for example on a network location, you can put the full path and file name with this cell. So you can go ahead and enter the full path and file name. I would definitely recommend copying the path from your Windows Explorer and pasting it in, and then the file name. Then you go into the code and you would just remove the part at the beginning here that was giving it a set file path. So this, again, Worksheets Sheet 1 range B1 is referring to Sheet 1 cell B1. In this case we have the full file path within this cell, and we can run our code. And there again, the information gets imported. Instead of having to go to the macros list to run this import macro, you can add a button to the sheet and run the macro from the button. To do this, go to Insert, and under Form Controls, select the Button Form Control. Draw your button, and the Assign Macro window will pop up the minute you let go of the mouse after drawing the button. Select Import Data, click OK, and if you want to change the text here, you can right-click on the button, Edit Text, and click outside the button. So let's save our changes. And now we'll run the macro by clicking on a button. And there you go. There's how to run a macro from a button.